Welcome to Golden Bachelor. If you love celebrity news and real entertainment updates, you're in the right place. Mel and Peg always knew their connection was different. Even in a house filled with nerves, roses, and way too many cameras, they somehow managed to create a world of their own. A world where laughter came easy, flirtation felt natural, and every glance carried a promise they didn't yet have the courage to speak aloud. And now, after the whirlwind journey that brought them together, their story continues in the most unexpected and heart-melting way. Today, they're stepping into a new chapter, one that feels softer, sweeter, and surprisingly real. No competition, no eliminations, just two people learning how to live life side by side, still discovering each other, still surprising each other, and still figuring out what love looks like beyond the spotlight. Mel, always the fiery spark in any room, hasn't lost his magic. She still teases Mel like it's her second language, still finds ways to challenge him, and still delivers those witty one-liners that make him shake his head and laugh like he's known her forever. And Mel? He's trying to convince the world, and maybe himself, that he's got everything under control. But as Peg likes to say, Mel Owens is a big, handsome puzzle, and I'm still putting the pieces together. Their chemistry is undeniable. It's the kind of chemistry that makes strangers smile when they walk past, the kind that fills a room with warmth without either of them noticing, the kind where even an argument somehow turns into flirting 10 seconds later. They may not be perfect, but together they make perfect sense. What surprises people most is how naturally they've settled into everyday life. Mel, who once seemed guarded and careful, now finds himself checking the clock, wondering when Peg will walk through the door. Peg, who always loved her independence, now grins at how easily she's fallen into the comfort of having someone who truly gets her quirks. Their rhythm isn't forced. It's something they built through vulnerability, honesty, and a shared willingness to start fresh. They've already had their fair share of funny missteps, like the time Peg insisted she could fix Mel's leaky kitchen sink because she'd watched at least 12 minutes of a tutorial once. 10 minutes later, Mel was standing in ankle-deep water while Peg blamed the wrench for having the wrong attitude. Or the afternoon Mel tried to surprise her with a home-cooked dinner, only to fill the house with so much smoke that Peg joked the fire alarm deserved the final rose. But that's exactly what makes their connection so lovable. They don't pretend to be perfect. They're just perfectly imperfect together. Emotionally, they're becoming each other's safe place. Peg isn't afraid to challenge Mel when he retreats into old habits, and Mel softens Peg in a way she never expected, reminding her she doesn't always have to be the strong one. He listens, she encourages, he grounds, she inspires. And slowly, without fanfare, they've built a foundation stronger than either imagined. Even their private conversations are tender in a way that would surprise people who only saw their playful banter. Peg recently told Mel that loving him feels like walking into a warm room after being out in the cold. And Mel admitted that Peg made him believe in second chances, the kind he thought were behind him. They shared those words quietly, just between them. But the sincerity was undeniable. Now they're exploring the future, not with pressure, but with curiosity. They're talking about what life looks like in the long term, where they want to live, how they want to spend their time, whether they're ready for the next step. And though nothing is rushed, the excitement between them is very real. Peg already jokes about planning the wedding decor, even though Mel hasn't proposed yet. Mel pretends to be terrified, but the way he looks at her, anyone can tell he's thought about it more than once. They're moving at their own pace, which is exactly why their bond feels so secure. And yet, even with all the romance, they still manage to keep things hilariously chaotic. Peg told Mel he'd need to sign a prenup promising never to grow an ugly beard. Mel countered by saying she had to promise never to cut her hair without consulting him first. Peg rolled her eyes and laughed and said, "Nice try, handsome. My hair, my rules." Moments like these show just how much fun they have simply being themselves. Despite the cameras being gone, their love story is only growing brighter. They finally have the space to build something meaningful, something that doesn't rely on dates planned by producers or dramatic rose ceremonies. Now it's real breakfasts, real conversations, real disagreements, real forgiveness, and real love. And as they step forward together, they're discovering something unexpected. Life outside the show is actually where the magic begins. Peg once joked that the finale wasn't the happy ending, it was just the opening credits. And she might be right. This is their beginning, their starting point, their chance to write a new chapter with no rules, no competition, and no pressure other than to love each other well. What makes their story compelling isn't the drama. It's the way two people, in their golden years, dared to believe that love could find them again. They let their guards down. They took a chance. And they found something real, something warm, something deeply joyful. So many people talk about young love, but Mel and Peg are living proof that love after 60 can be even richer. It comes with a lifetime of experience, resilience, and understanding. It's a connection built from wisdom, softened by humor, and strengthened by gratitude. They don't take each other for granted because they know how rare this kind of bond is. And as their story continues, one thing is clear. This journey isn't slowing down. Peg's sparkle is brighter than ever. Mel's heart is more open than it has been in decades, and together they're building a life filled with laughter, companionship, and a whole lot of romance. Their fans can't stop rooting for them, and honestly, who could blame them? There's something magical about watching two people find the kind of love they thought they'd lost long ago. Something hopeful, something inspiring, and definitely something worth celebrating. And as they continue to share their new chapter with the world, there's one thing everyone can expect: more laughter, more sweetness, more surprises, and more reasons to believe that love, real love, can happen at any age. Their story is far from over. In fact, this is only part one, the beginning of something warm, funny, heartfelt, and beautifully unexpected. And anyone who's been following their journey already knows Mel and Peg aren't just writing a love story, they're living one. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you stay tuned because their next chapter promises to be even better. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Thanks for watching Golden Bachelor. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next big story.